needless to say, this was a big game for us. I think really proud of our response. Last week was a very difficult week for us emotionally. You know, we had two amazing opportunities against two of the better teams in the league to come away with road wins, and you have heartbreaking losses on, you know, last possessions, and it goes to overtime and you come up short and you have to play 90 minutes and you're already a little bit thin as it is, you know, with in terms of depth. And you know, we knew the importance of this game. We also knew they were coming off a real emotional game, so our energy level was going to be huge because they kind of had what we had last week, you know, where they had to go to Champaign, overtime game, play great, you know, then travel back here, play on the road again, you know, and so we wanted to try to take advantage of that a little bit because the schedule just gets you. I mean, that happened to us last week. Minnesota was sitting at home for 8 days, you know, and we come back off of West Lafayette, and that doesn't discount what they did, but you know, when you have that, you got to take advantage of it. I thought in the first half we had a lot of energy. Thought we were very sharp. You know, they went to a bigger lineup, which we kind of expected. You know, Gary played very well, but I thought overall Alec had really hurt us in the first game. I think he had 18 points in the first game. Tonight he gets 0, so that was a big thing. And I thought we did a great job on Mast. You know, Mast has been really playing well in our league, you know, the last 3 weeks or so with some big games, 20-plus games. And I thought we did a really good job, you know, taking away his pick and pops and his low post stuff. And, you know, obviously when you got Tominaga and Wilcher, you know, flying around shooting threes, that's scary. And so this was a good win. Really proud of the guys. Obviously dealt with adversity, foul trouble, tie going down, and you still found a way to win. Guys stepped up, and we took care of the home floor tonight, which was huge.
Coach, do you have an update on Tai?
I don't, you know, really I don't, other than that, you know, he had a little bit of a twist of his knee, and we'll just get more information. You know, the docs are all on it, and, you know, we have to kind of see how he responds and obviously kind of see where things are at. So, you know, you pray for the best. I mean, Ty's playing great basketball. He's such a leader for us. He's playing the best basketball of his career, and, you know, we hope and pray that, you know, it's nothing that's going to be real long term. But I know he's going to fight like crazy to get back out on the floor as soon as he can. And while that time period is, we just have to step up, right? Other guys got to, just like Nick did tonight. You know, his 15 points were huge in Ty's absence.
You don't expect this to be season ending?
We don't know. Okay. Yeah, I really don't know. I have no update on. I don't want to speculate because that's not fair to him or to anyone involved. So we'll get you guys information as soon as we know more.
You guys limited K-State to just 3 made shots and nothing from deep. What was kind of the big adjustment after he hit the dagger and Lincoln against you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think you just have to really stay dialed in at all times. His movement is great. You know, I mean, he's one of the better cutters in the league, and their spacing is really good. And they share the ball, and they can all pass. And when he gets flying off those double downs and then you take it away, he curls to the basket. He's crafty getting fouled. But, you know, our main thing with him was to try to take away his layups and threes. You know, if you can try to make him play in the mid-range. And he got some free throws, but I think all 3 of his baskets that he got were like little mid-range pull-ups, you know, and you kind of live with that because he's so dangerous when he can either get those catch-and-shoot threes on all that movement they do, or if then he catches you on a back cut and gets layups. So that was kind of our main thing, no threes, no layups. And he still found his way to 11 points because he's a good player, but I thought our guys had a great sense of urgency on him tonight.
Coach, after Tai goes down, it's hard to replace his spacing. How did the offensive game plan shift?
Yeah, I mean, you know, when Nick comes in, we get a little bit bigger, right? But we're not probably as prolific from the three-point line when you have Boo, Tai, and Ryan kind of spacing everything out. But, you know, we tried to play to that personnel and run some of our actions. It kind of makes Brooks a little bit more of a playmaker role when he's kind of more in a wing role. You know, Nick kind of plays more of that 4 spot when he's in there, when they're in there together. But the one thing about Nick is he's really been shooting the ball well, you know, and it's something he's worked on. I mean, we all know he's got that herky-jerky, funky in the whatever. I don't even know what to call it, but it works. But I have to find a name for it. But he's really shooting it well. I mean, he made 2 huge threes in the second half, you know, when they were trying to make a run on us. And then they tried to get the ball out of Boo's hands. You know, I thought we did a pretty good job taking advantage of some mismatches in the first half on some switching, and Boo really had it going. And the second half, when we went to those actions, they just ran a second guy at him, and that's why, he's become such a willing passer. It's great of Boo. Like he found, and then it gets them in rotation, and that's why a guy like Ryan gets 18. You get Nick with 15, you get Brooks with 14, because they were second half, they really tried to get the ball out of Boo's hands.
Coach, not necessarily a lot of second chance points, but your team beat them on the offensive glass 13-3, 36-29 overall. What do you think contributed to, one of your team's best nights in rebounding so far?
I mean, so much of rebounding obviously is will and want to, and just, wanting to go get that ball. I mean, it's a physical game out there. Both teams are playing hard. Both teams are being physical. And it was really impressive for us to be able to out-rebound them when they played such a big lineup. Right, I mean they started Gary, Mast, Alec, on the front line with Bryce Williams, who's about 6'7". That's a big team, and so for our guys to come out and kind of match that physicality, and not allow them to get on the glass, and then for us, to be able to get 13 offensive rebounds ourselves, just the game was really important to us tonight. Not that they all aren't, they all are. But when you have two losses the way we had last week, and you're trying to fight, to stay in the top half of this league, and you see whatever, everybody's winning. And this was a game that we had to have, and our guys talked about it. They knew it as veteran guys, and that's not pressure, but, that was just the reality that, we had to come home and take care of our home floor tonight after, those two losses last week.
The team had 26 points off 17 turnovers. Can you kind of talk about the team's ability to turn defense into offense?
Yeah, I thought our activity tonight was really good. Our hand activity. When you play this team, they're very hard to guard because they move and they play with great pace, and they swing the ball and they get you in tough situations. But we felt like if we could disrupt their rhythm a little bit and get into the ball handler a little bit and take away some of the vision, that we might be able to cause a few problems, and maybe because they don't really have a true point guard. And so a lot of times they play, if you saw, they play through Mast a lot as kind of their point center. And we put Brooks on him, instead he normally gets a center, so he kind of gets that space to be able to navigate in the middle of the floor. And we just felt like he was such a big key with initiating their offense. We put a smaller guy on him, and I thought, had some success with that.
So when it comes to Boo, you mentioned the spacing and the ability to create off that. How much better has he gotten at just being able to space the floor, and not just maybe his entire career, but even just this season?
You talking about who?
Boo.
Boo, yeah. Well, I mean, his game has just improved in every way. I mean, he was always a guy who could score the ball, and he had electric ability to do that, but he's learned how to be a great player. He's studied the game, he's watched film, he's gotten better, he's gotten stronger. He's honed his craft with his ball handling. I mean, that floater, is deadly. I mean, if he gets to that kind of elbow area, you feel really good that something good's going to happen. He's either going to, that floater's going in, or if they come up, he's going to hit the big guy on the lob, or then he's going to spray it to shooters. So, and I think what he's really learned is what the game is bringing every night. Like in the first half, they weren't really, they were switching stuff, and he was getting matchups he liked, and he was attacking. What, he gets 16 or 18 in the first half. Second half, they changed it up. They said, okay, we're not going to let him beat us. We're going to double team him every time and make him be a passer, and that's what he did. And sometimes a great scorer, even when you're saying like, hey, give it up, like they want to score, and that's the one thing I think he's really learned is kind of how to manage the game, what the defense is trying to do, and how to manage his teammates as well. He's become a terrific point guard. I mean, we talk about it. I mean, he's, I'm glad he's on my team. I'll say that he makes others better, and he's been a terrific leader for this team.
Coach, 35 or more minutes apiece for Boo, Ryan, and Brooks tonight. As the stretch run starts to hit, how are you going to make sure that you balance winning the games with also getting those guys the rest they deserve?
They're playing. So, I mean, that's just – listen, I've said it, guys. Like, and I know I played a long time ago. Like, good players don't want to come out. They want to play. And what I was impressed about tonight was a kid like Jordan Clayton, who hasn't played much. He comes in tonight and gets 10 and a half minutes that are key minutes. where he's got to come in. He's got to guard a team that's really hard to guard. They're pressing at the end of the game. You got to help take care of the ball. So hopefully the more he can get out there a little bit, we can spell those guys. But, honestly, I mean, do I want him to play 38, 30? No, but they're going to be in the low to mid 30s. I mean, that's just the reality. They condition themselves to do that. They want to be out there. And, that's just kind of how this team is right now. And certainly we're going to do our best to get them as much rest as possible. But it's hard. Like, you guys don't understand, like in games like this, you take some key guys off the floor for 2-3 minutes and a team hits you with an 8-0 run or a 10-0 run, the game can flip like that. So I think what you see is we try to use timeouts. We try to substitute wisely where guys can maybe get a minute of rest, but rest longer, and just not use fatigue as an issue, right? I mean, if you don't talk about being tired, then you're not going to be tired because you want to win and you want to be out there.
At the end of the game, they were able to claw their way back and help with you guys trying to break the press. What do you attribute to the turnovers and the inability at times to get through the...
Yeah, I thought, we had a couple sloppy ones there. I know the one that came back to Brooks, he kind of fumbled it out of bounds. Boo had an offensive foul where they called a push-off. And give them credit. They were fighting to get back into the game. I think everyone just needs to be an active receiver in that moment. You got to take on the pressure. You got to be strong with the ball. You got to understand they're going to be physical. They might not call the foul. They might call it. But I thought the last, we struggled the first few possessions with it. But then I thought the last 3 or 4, we were able to get ourselves fouled, get to the line, make some free throws, and kind of settle in. And really it was great practice, I think, the last minute of the game to have, even though I was not happy with him fouling out, to have that last minute where Boo wasn't out there and those other guys had to figure it out. They had to get to open areas. They had to take care of the ball. They had to get fouled. They had to make free throws, get stops on the other end. So, I thought that was really good minute experience for them under game pressure.
Transfer over to Penn State with the amount of press that they bring?
Yeah, hope so. Part of it too is you got to defend them. If they don't score, they can't press you. And when we played them in last game in the first half, we couldn't stop them. So they could set their press on almost every possession. In the second half, we got stops, and it was hard for them to pick us up. But, yeah, I mean, we turned it over 18 times. I think it was the most we had all year, or one of them at least. We had 18 turnovers against them in the first game, and we're going to have to do a better job because they're playing well. They went on the road last week and won at Rutgers. They won at Indiana, and we got to get rested up, and we got to prepare and understand we got another hungry team coming in here Sunday afternoon.
Coach, 10 rebounds from Brooks tonight, his most since the Dayton game. How vital was his performance on the glass?
Oh, it was huge. Not only on the glass, but his defense on Mast. He was guarding Mast, which, you're giving up size, you're giving up strength. We wanted, I thought his pressure out there on the perimeter guarding him, he really didn't get hurt in the post. So his defense on Mast, the guy who's been as hot as anybody in the league, and then his ability to get 14 points and 10 rebounds, just a testament to the player he is. I mean, he's a heck of a player. To me, he's playing like an all-league guy, and that's what you got to have if you want to win games in this league.
10 minutes for Jordan Clayton was his most in a Big Ten game so far. With you yourself having a lot of experience playing guard, Boo having a lot of experience playing guard, what have the conversations been like with him as a true freshman to get him ready to play and stay patient for these kind of roles? Yeah, I mean, practices have to be your games. You talk about that a lot. He's spent time on the scout team where he's emulating, the Tominagas and the Lawrence and the Williams and guys like that. So you got to come every day and view practice as your games. You got to prepare every day like you might be called upon. I mean, he didn't know coming into tonight that Tai was going to get hurt and that he was going to have to be ready to play, and that's on him to be ready, and he was. And hopefully the more he plays, the more comfortable. I thought the shot he took was a great look. It was in and out. He took it with confidence, and that's what we want. Just play with confidence. Like if you don't play with confidence, you're going to get swallowed up. So come out. There might be some mistakes made. We might yell at you because you're a freshman. That's part of the deal. But stay confident. Stay true to yourself. Believe in yourself. Learn from the older guys. And it was a good minutes for him tonight. We really needed him, especially losing Tai. All right, thank you guys. See you Sunday.
We'll start with some questions for these guys. Bradley?
Nick, kind of what was your reaction when Tai left the game, and how were you able to come in and make such an immediate impact?
Yeah, at first I didn't know that. Like, I wasn't even paying attention, like, when he got hurt and went out of the game. It was kind of like when I got back to the bench and saw, like, he wasn't on the bench, I was obviously shook. He's such a good player.
And for Ryan, being part of that kind of backcourt core of this team, what was kind of the conversation between you guys and with the coaches once you knew Tai wouldn't be returning?
Just kind of sticking together and persevering through that. Obviously we want him on the court as much as possible, but kind of when that happens, your team has to come together in those tough moments.
This is for both of you guys. Team shot 44% from beyond the arc tonight. How does that open up your offense when you guys are consistently hitting from beyond the arc?
Yeah, this guy was drilling him as well, so it's always nice to have. It makes us difficult to guard because then they're playing on closeouts, and we're able to get into the paint and find each other, and we're pretty dynamic when that happens. So, it's always a spark plug, but I think we always value the defensive side of the ball first.
Nick, I want to say this is your first game making 2 threes in the same game. Kind of how have you felt like you've added that to your game as the season has gone on?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of it's usually that I don't take 3-pointers very much, but I think, just like confidence. My teammates always tell me to shoot them, and that always helps. So, and especially like when Ryan and Boo can draw 2, it's just easy. I'm getting wide open ones. So.
Ryan, you took over the point guard role when Boo fouled out of the game, and you had to break the press in the game. How did you help direct traffic as the normal 2 on this team instead of now being the 1 in that situation?
Yeah, I think we've prepared for every scenario in practice, so I can't take the credit for that. The coaches have put me through all that, and also just kind of trusting everyone else that's on the floor. We kind of know what we need to do, where we need to be, and at that point, it's really about poise more than composure more than anything. Just staying calm and not making any silly mistakes.
Ryan, obviously you had 7 rebounds. How are you kind of able to sort of stay active on the glass and help the big men with rebounding?
Just trying to box out all the big guys as much as possible. Just being in there, and Matt has a tough job every night trying to box some of these guys out, and this guy Brooks, some of these guys. So as much pressure as I can alleviate, I try to do as much as I can.
Continuing to talk about rebounding, this is the 3rd time in the last 4 games you guys have won the rebound margin. What have you guys done in practice to sort of make that a focus and get better at that as the season's gone on?
Yeah, we do a box out drill where we go pretty hard, and you got to hit the guy, and we make it a priority for sure, because I know that was a weakness for us for a good part of the season. So we've definitely made it a priority, and I think just making sure that we focus on it on defense. We don't guard for 30 seconds and then give up an easy one, because that just makes our job that much tougher.
Ryan, you had a sequence, I think, tonight where you saved the ball from going out of bounds and called a timeout in midair. I think it was about the 2nd time you've done that so far this year. Kind of what's going through your mind during that play, and how are you able to stay so composed?
Before the season, our coaches made us aware of the new rule. And I don't know, if I wasn't going to be able to call a timeout, I would have just walked out of bounds with it. So whatever I could do, I tried to find the ref and just point right at him. So
4 years at Princeton, smart.
Nick, Coach touched on it, but it seems like every night we see kind of a clinic from you with that lefty floater. How did you develop such a shot and get it to such a lethal level where you convert so much?
Yeah, I'm honestly not really sure. I couldn't tell you, but I think just having that in the arsenal, I don't want to say it's like a bailout shot, but I think it's a shot that I can go to when a lot of times they really don't sit on it much, they're probably more focused on scouting like this guy Boo and such. So just the ability to get the ball on the post and not have people running at me because we have such good players on the perimeter, it allows me to get to that shot a lot.
Ryan, this is another night for you with, I want to say, around 39, 40 minutes. How important was kind of having those 3 to 4 rest days after Minnesota, after the week of overtime, to get back to being comfortable playing those minutes?
Yeah, it's always tough, but I think we're all used to kind of doing that, and all the work we've put in the summer prepares us for it. Rest days is always nice, and you take advantage of them. We do a lot of treatment and making sure all the guys are on top of taking care of their bodies. So just as much as we can get in the gym, stay in the gym, and do all the boots and everything we can, it always helps.
One more question, Talia.
Ryan, this is your 2nd game in the last 3 with 6 assists and no turnovers, which 6 assists is a career high. Is there something you're like cognizantly doing differently, or are you kind of just playing within the flow?
Yeah, just playing with the flow, trusting my teammates, just trying to get in the paint and find guys. I think the more that I can do that, the more I can help the team win. And, I mean, really, that's the goal. So.
All right, better wrap us up. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Jeez.